Okay, so today we're going to work on the MarketWatch journal assignment number 5, which would have been the last MarketWatch journal assignment. And the good news is it's kind of a compilation of all the other MarketWatch journal assignments and kind of a refresher okay, here's what I wanted you to actually get out of all those labs that you did. So we'll start with question number 1. Bob is considering investing his money, but has heard that the stock market is like gambling and he may lose it all. What would you tell Bob? Well, hopefully what you got out of this is that you could tell Bob that the stock market should not be like gambling. It can be, you can gamble on it, but obviously from the first MarketWatch, when you guys got to just invest in whatever stock you wanted, I hope you found that there's a huge risk of losing money. But the last MarketWatch journal assignment that we did this morning, hopefully you see that there's ways to mitigate that loss. That if you don't put all of your eggs in one basket, that you diversify your portfolio, that you do the stock valuation, that it's really not gambling. There are ways to understand the market and to make it work for you rather than just taking a guess, because that's all gambling really is just taking a guess on the stock and hoping it pays off. Whereas there are ways to help to make it pay off for you. Okay, so number 2. If Bob didn't invest his money, but places it in his stock drawer for safekeeping, what does he risk? Well, there's 2 major risks he takes. The first is the inflation risk. By putting his money in his sock drawer and then pulling it out, let's say 20 years later, what happens is that money is worth less than it would have been in the 20 years prior before this, when he put it in the sock drawer. So inflation will eat away at the value of your money. Yes, he still has $50 or however much he put in the sock drawer, but that money will buy less 20 years from now than it will now. So there's the inflation risk. The only way to beat the inflation risk is the second risk he's taking by just putting it in a sock drawer, and that's the time value of money. Money invested today is worth more in 20 years than money just put in the sock drawer because of interest. And hopefully he'd be looking for an interest rate that would beat or at least match inflation. Okay, number 3. Bob has heard of a great stock from his neighbor Tom. He wants to invest all of his savings into it. Should he do this? Why or why not? And hopefully you understand by now the answer is no, he should not do this. A, it's just gambling. If he just goes, great stock, okay, I'm gonna do it, and doesn't do the research, the valuation parameters, doesn't diversify his portfolio. He wants to put all of his savings into that. That's a bad decision. Question number 4. Bob looks at his stock's prices change every day, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day. He thinks he should be selling it and buying it or others every time the price changes. Is this a good idea or bad idea, and why? Well, hopefully by now you know this is a bad idea. It's a bad idea because of commission, because of tax consequences on the money, and every time, remember, to get the capital gains tax rate, you have to hold on to the investment for at least 12 months. And right now, what Bob is doing, just buying and trading every day, that's going to cost him money. Even if he makes a little money in the stock market, a lot of it will be eaten away by commission and taxes. So this is a bad idea to continually buy and sell. You should have a buy and hold strategy geared towards a specific investment goal, and he doesn't do anything with the money until he meets that goal. All right, number 5, overall, what advice would you give Bob regarding investing and his investment strategy? And overall, hopefully you learned from the previous 4 questions. You'd tell Bob some very simple things. First off, you tell Bob to invest. Invest in something that would at least meet the inflationary rate if this is a long-term investment, and certainly something that would at least earn interest for him. Number 2, you might tell him to diversify. Don't put all his eggs in one basket. Sometimes when stocks go up, bonds go down. When bonds go up, stocks go down, or different industries will behave differently in the market. So maybe invest in technology and in agricultural products. Just something that if something goes wrong in one sector of his portfolio, the rest of it can kind of make up the difference. Number 3, Hopefully you're telling Bob to invest for the long haul, to avoid taxes and commission fees constantly that will eat away at what he earned, because it's not what you make that makes you rich, it's what you get to keep that makes you rich. Otherwise, what else would you tell Bob? You might tell Bob that to actually do his homework, to study, to evaluate the stocks, and that way he understands what he's investing in and he's not just gambling. So these are some things hopefully you got out of the MarketWatch journal assignments that you can tell Bob regarding investing and his investment strategy. And this was just really short because that's all there was those 5 questions. And like I said, hopefully you got all the rest of it from this. This would have counted, or still will count, as a test score. If you want to type up the answers that I've given to you today, or some other thoughts you might have, and send me pictures of what you've done, that I replace or I add to a test score 100% if you pass this, which I just gave you the answers. So frankly, I think you should pass it. So if you have any questions, feel free to text me. Otherwise, that's all there was. Have a great day.